So the first things you're going to need to make these little diaper pants is the pattern, and as usual I will post a link to this pattern underneath the video in the video description. This is not my pattern. I found it online. Actually, it's been quite a few years, so I'll have to check back and see if it's still there. But it's really nice because it comes in 4 sizes, and I am doing the size 6 to 12 months. So anyway, yeah. This is a cut on the fold, so you see you've got the half of the front and half of the back, and I've already cut mine out on the fold. And I had planned on making quite a few of these when I copied the pattern. So on my desk here I taped the measurements that come with the pattern. She included that for each size. It has measurements for the waist, and for the 6 to 12 months it's 18-inch waist, so I have a waistband elastic there for that. And for the leg measurements, it is 12 inches for each leg. So this elastic I have here is kind of dirty looking. I probably had it for years, but I wanted to use it up. So anyway, this is a 1/2 inch elastic I think I have. I wanted to use a thinner one, but I didn't see any in my little stash there, so I'm just using this one. So let's get started with the sewing part. First thing I'm going to do for this pattern is I'm going to iron out the crease that I ironed into it so I could cut it on the fold. And the next thing I want to do is, with right sides together, I'm going to join this crotch area. And there is this pattern I always found that it was slightly off. It's not my cutting, it's the pattern, the way she created it. It always seems to be a little off with the sides, but just make sure you line it up as best you can. It's not terribly off, it's just off. So with right sides together, I'm going to take this to the machine and stitch across with about 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I was asked by a viewer to make sure that I include what stitch length I'm using. I don't know how much good that'll do you if you're using a different machine. Maybe they're different, I don't know. But for this, I am using 2.5 stitch length on my Viking Husqvarna, and I have the tension set between 6 and 5, and I have the presser foot set on number 4. So you always want to do that little back stitch. You don't need to overdo it, but you need to back stitch to make sure you lock in that stitch on this. So I've got the crotch seam sewn. Now what I want to do is press that seam down. So what I'm going to do is, with each piece of elastic, I want to take it and attach it and then fold it over onto it and sew a hem. So what I'm going to do is set my sewing machine on zigzag stitch, and I'm going to kind of leave enough room right here so that I can fold this over afterwards. But first I'm going to sew it right onto the leg. And this is a part where you want to try to be careful, because it's been a couple of years since I made any of these, and I was practicing it the other day so I could do this video, and I actually made like 4 pair before I remembered how I did it. But you know, you just have to be careful getting around these curves and making sure you don't pull too much on the elastic as you sew, because then you'll have some left over and the legs might be too tight. The leg holes will be too tight when you sew it together. I'm setting my machine on zigzag stitch, and on my Viking it only goes up to 1.5 stitch length, so I'm going to take it to that highest length, and I'm going to start by going right here on the edge, and I'm going to hold this elastic down and do a little back stitch to hold it in place. go over that 2 or 3 times to make sure that it stays in place. And hopefully if I pull this just right, this end will come right to the other end. If you pull it too much, like I said, you may make the leg holes too tight. So I'm just giving it a little pull. Once you get a little bit of that back here, you want to pull the back a little bit too. Okay, so that wasn't too bad. I probably pulled it a little more than I needed to at the beginning. I should have left a little more for the back, but that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing with the other leg, and then I will come back and show you the next step. So I have both leg holes sewn here. The next thing I want to do is turn this over on itself, and I want to sew a top stitch on that just to keep it together. And I'm going to use a straight stitch for that with with the stitch length set on 3. So the first thing we need to do is just kind of get this started right here. So I'm going to do a back stitch, and you kind of have to pull it till it kind of folds over all by itself, and just be really careful with this part. And I'm trying to keep it in the middle of itself, just keeping that presser foot right on the middle of the elastic. We've got both of the leg holes sewn with the elastic in them. The next thing we want to do is join the sides together. And we'll do that by folding this over, right sides together. And if you're not, if you're a beginning sewer, it's always a good idea, well, even, if you're not a beginner, it's a good idea to pin things like this so that they don't shift around, because you'd be surprised, just a little bitty, being off by a little bit can mess up a whole entire garment that you're sewing. So I'm just going to join these sides together and place a couple of pins in each one. Now, I'm not going to show this part on camera. I'm going to go over to the machine and sew down each side, and then I'll come back and show you how to put the waistband in. Okay, you can see I've got my sides joined together, and we almost have a little pair of diaper pants. We just need a waistband for them. So it's kind of going to be the same method as I did with the leg holes. I'm going to take the waistband and attach it, and with a zigzag stitch. But like I said, sometimes I forget what I'm doing, and that's actually the way I'm about to do the waistband is the way I did the leg holes when I was practicing the other day, and it worked better. So anyway, if you watch this video to the end, try it the other way. So what I'm doing is, you can see I took the free arm off my machine, my dusty machine that I've been using and I need to clean. And I'm going to start so that I wind up going around the back of the diaper pants. And instead of opening this seam up and ironing it out, the side seam, I'm going to pull it towards the back. And I'm going to go ahead and get the garment in there, and I'm going to line the elastic up right with the edge of the waist of the diaper pants. And I'm going to set my machine on zigzag and go all the way up to the high setting with stitch length, which is 1.5 on my machine. I'm going to do a little back stitch and then I'm going to start pulling it around. And if everything comes out as planned and you pulled it just right, your elastics will meet and kind of overlap a little bit. Now, just like we did with the leg holes, we're going to turn this over and I'm going to change this to a straight stitch and I'm going to go up to the 3.0 stitch length. And on this one I'm going to sew right along the bottom edge where I'm folding it over. And you want to pull it until it lays flat and then start sewing. So there you have it, diaper pants. And I have several different ways that you can sew these. You can construct them, so I may do a couple of other videos if it's requested. I did, like I said, I remembered once I was doing this waistband that's the same way that I had done the leg holes, and I absolutely recommend it that way because it looks so much neater. You can see the leg holes here, you can see that, and it's kind of hard to keep everything even, but you can see the difference with the waistband. It all looks nice and even. And you can add little lace trim to the back of this, or make your own little gathered piece of trim that matches this and sew that on, and that's something you would do before you actually started constructing it. So I may do a video showing that as well. I was practicing that the other day and I was failing miserably at it. But anyway, I'm back at it, guys. My little summer break from YouTube videos is over, and I will be doing a lot more tutorials in the very, very near future. So you guys stay tuned, stay with me. Click the like and subscribe button if you enjoyed what you saw. Share it with your friends. I really appreciate it. And I love all my viewers. Thank you so much, guys. That's it. Diaper pants. Peace, y'all. Bye-bye.